So today we will be talking about the power of the subconscious mind. Okay, so shout out to Eric in the comments. Appreciate you being here with me, bro. And also to Wisdom Warriors, thank you for your patience. And I appreciate you coming by and just taking a look at what we've got going on here. Okay, so we're gonna begin. Um, so this was mostly inspired by this book right here. This live stream was mostly inspired by this book. The reason why is because um this book was really important for me in discovering the truth of the subconscious mind. Right around the time I started picking up this book, I was actually reading a lot into the subconscious mind. Just Neville Goddard. I was learning about how imagination works with the subconscious and how the subconscious eventually leads to creating your reality. And so that really was one of the big points here, and it's going to be one of the big points when we're talking about the subconscious. Your thoughts, we're talking about how your thoughts create your reality and how your mind eventually leads to, the creation of whatever situation you have right now. So something to understand is that the subconscious is a gift within itself. It is something that we carry, and we have the opportunity to use at any moment. And the thing here is that it's always connected to us. Okay, it's always there, and it's always listening. The whole world is basically born, I would say. There's kind of an understanding that I came to one day, which is that the whole world is actually born through the subconscious mind. We we perceive everything. All of our perceptions, you know oftentimes they lie within our unconscious. All of our belief systems, all of our opinions, they usually lie within our subconscious. And so this is kind of where bias comes from. This is where all of our childhood is stored. It's the memory. It's the memory that is always there. And hey, Karin, what's up? Nice to see you here. Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by. And then the title and author is actually, sorry guys, the title and author is actually Joseph Murphy. So that's the author, and then the title is actually The Power of the Subconscious Mind. There we are. Type it in the comments. Make sure to check it. But when I started looking into this, I understood that it is all really just perception. If you want to change your reality, a lot of people do a lot of noise. They create a lot of noise, a lot of movement in trying to work things out through the conscious mind. You know, sort of like um, we do a lot of things. We try to do a lot of things to basically escape the subconscious. We try to escape the subconscious in the sense that we really, instead of, if we're insecure, for example, we buy cars, or we try to make a lot more money. And hold on, guys, not what I wanted. There we go. All right, my camera's been acting weird. Sorry. But oftentimes people try to solve their problems through a bunch of noise. We try to go outwards in solving our issues, and we forget that the issue actually stems from a deeper underlying principle, and it is often connected to, for example, our childhood, or our feelings of insecurity, or just feelings that we have stored in our subconscious. So we need to understand that if we want to solve our problems quickly, and if we also want to create a whole, if we want to create solutions, or the most effective solutions will be found within the subconscious. It'll be found with working with the subconscious. And so one of the main things that I discovered, that I understood, was that your subconscious is actually connected to the universe, as I said. But most importantly, your subconscious is a tool, and it is a tool for you. It wants the best for you. Your subconscious is very well in tune with all that which is in harmony. So you know that you are not connected with your subconscious, or you're not or you're not working well with your subconscious when you are in disharmony, when you are sick, for example, or when you are stressed out, chronic stress. That's kind of a sign that you are not connected to your internal world. You're not connected to your subconscious. So that's something that it's a really easy indicator that you find yourself, facing a lot of issues in life, going through a lot of negative things. Um, it might be because you're not in tune with your subconscious. So you gotta tune in. All right, you gotta tune in. And so when understanding the specific, um, there, when trying to understand how the subconscious works, I like to explain it as the feminine aspect of the mind. So the masculine aspect will actually be your conscious mind. That's basically the linear way of experiencing life, and the subconscious mind is kind of more so the holistic way of experiencing life. The subconscious mind is feminine in that it is very receptive towards you. Whatever you do, whatever you think, everything is just ingrained within your subconscious. So something interesting is kind of like, if you wanted to understand yourself at the deepest level and really connect to everything that you are, you can't really go to like your default memory, because the default memory is, short term, and it's short term and it's very useful because usually short term memory is used for, remembering like a phone, writing things down. You were going to the room and you needed to do something, and the short term memory was there so that you can recall that, right? But then long term memory is a little bit different. Long term memory is kind of like everywhere as we're walking through life. We might hear a song and it reminds us of this thing that happened in the past. Or we might or we might see somebody and then it reminds us of something that happened in the past, right? So long term memory is also it's very like, it can be vague, but then it's also, it's very connected to feelings. It's very connected to, um really, yeah, to a feeling, to an emotion, to to it's really ingrained in your body. And that's kind of how I like to think about the subconscious. It's very connected to feeling. It's very connected to your thoughts, in the sense that if whatever thought you think, your subconscious just sees it as true, right? It just accepts it. So um then we have the fact that we can't create without the subconscious. Okay, it's an essential component to creation, because without the subconscious, your subconscious is intimately connected with your imagination. And if you're working with your subconscious, you're working with the source of creation, which is really your imagination. And so I like to think of it as like images in your head. The more images you carry in your head, of like what you actually desire, the easier it is for you to tune into that desire. And so, like, for example, when you ingrain into your subconscious, like, I want to be, I don't know, whatever you want to be. When you do that, your subconscious is automatically going to stretch itself out and connect to everything in your awareness that kind of aids into synchronizing yourself towards that one image. So let's talk about. I want to get back to that, but I want to mention, because that kind of goes more into like basically law of attraction. But I want to tell you guys how I actually restructured my subconscious. And this really came from this idea of thinking from possibility. It really came about with, challenging your beliefs. The essential, you really start to understand yourself when you question your reality. So you have to be able to question your subconscious. uh you know, sometimes one of the ways that it looks like is just questioning whether what you think is true. For example, we live in an age where people just walk around throwing out words without really knowing the definition of them, without ever knowing for themselves the definition of them. So for example, the idea of, like, being a human being, or more, let's go a little bit more complex, the idea of love. A lot of people say that word, right? But not many really understand it for themselves what it means, you know? Are they really connected to that word, or to that meaning, to the meaning of the word? And when you start to, it's weird, people get these ideas like, huh, what, like, for example, I was tripping one time, and my friends were like, "Where are you from?" And I always thought in my head, like, it's kind of weird. It's just all contextual, right? Like, where am I really from? It's it's just all based on the circumstance. Like, if I'm talking to a Spanish speaking person, I say I'm from Mexico. But if I'm talking to an English speaking person, I'm most likely gonna say, "Oh, I'm from Arizona." So so you have to question what is normal. If you really want to start challenging your beliefs, you have to really question, like, oh, like, I don't know, I never really thought about it like that. You have to really get into that. And it's kind of interesting because you kind of sound a little crazy, like the obvious, like questioning the obvious, you know. And one of the interesting things was, like, for example, colors. I've always wondered whether my shade of red is the same shade of red as the person that is watching me. Like, for in compared to, like, your shade of red. How do you like, who thinks like that? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people, but I'm saying thinking like that, but with a lot of more things in your life. So we want to push past possibilities, and this is one of the ways to do it. You want to really get into what it means to go into the extremes. All right, you want to allow yourself to live in those extremes. Okay, and this is something that really unlocked, like, really unlocked my mind, which is you have to gain the ability to not just play in the middle. Like, oftentimes people like to play in the middle of what it means to be normal. For example, we have to play in the extremes, in the sense that, what would it be like for me to be the greatest human being ever, or like my highest, most ideal self? And then you have to imagine that and create that in your head. And then I want you to question what it would be like for you to actually be your lowest self. What's the most disdainful, most, like, disgusting version of myself? And and so, like, how are you supposed to know where you are in the spectrum if you're always thinking in terms of the middle? You're never thinking in terms of, okay, I'm getting closer to that extreme, or I'm getting closer to the other extreme. And that allows you to kind of push the barrier, push that boundary into, like, a greater spectrum of experience. And that's really what we want here. We want to have the ability to experience life to the fullest, and that means both in the negative and the positive. And by experience, I don't mean just, doing things. You really want to experience it in your head, and you really want to live with the idea that that is a possibility, right? You have the same possibility as any other person to be in jail. For example, like, you're not better than anybody else, but then you also have the same possibility to be, like a Nobel Prize winner, or the greatest, like, speaker in the world. We all have that same possibility. It's just that the people who question are the ones who often get there. So we have to really get into that harsh shit. This is one of the most stupidest books ever. I don't know. I don't really know about that. But okay. Um no, I'm not gonna burn it. It's actually helped me out a lot. So I'm not gonna do that. You can I don't know what your experience is. Please let me know what your experience is. Why you don't believe in it or whatever. I'm interested in knowing more about that. But to me, what this book really pushed me to do was really challenge the extremes. Really try to understand why or how our mind works. Because in my experience, um, success or opportunity is granted when my eyes are open to it. You know, many people walk around not living uh, fully aware of the experience, both positive and negative. And I think that really trying to understand or trying to reach an understanding, um, or really try to reach an understanding of what the negative and the positive is, it has allowed me to invite more positivity into my life. You know, you want to really get to like know consciously, many people go through life and they say and they have experiences, but they never really have anything to compare it to. And so that's where we live a life of like, okay, not too much gratitude, right? So that's really something that pushed me to understand. And so our work is really to align ourselves to the intelligence of the universe. Okay, what is the intelligence of the universe? Well, if we really look down to every single aspect of life and we try to understand what everything that is living is trying to do, everything is just looking for harmony. Everything is just looking for wholeness. So that's what this book really tried to push into. I really got that from this book, which was that every living being is just trying to expand, and nature is always trying to balance itself out. That's why we have homeostasis. That's why we have, these plants, and they're connected with these animals. This whole ecosystem of, there's a food chain, but there's also just it's a ecosystem. Everything feeds into the next thing, and it's a cycle, right? And our job is really to try and understand that, really try and tap into that intelligence, and that intelligence is really just our nature, our own divine nature, and we can connect to that through the subconscious. And so you want to align to that which is harmonious. Really think for yourself, like, is positivity, like, what is in harmony? What brings more harmony into my life? What images can I think of right now that will allow me to tune myself into a positive possibility and make that into probability, right? And so I always think about it. You have to really come into your life thinking in terms of, okay, good, like, how is my day gonna look like? This is pretty simple, this is really simple stuff, in the sense, if you want to create a good life, you want to create it first in your head. It's kind of like a plan. You create an image of your day, and you go about your day from that construction that you've made. And as you go about, you kind of are working with life and creating that specific thing, that specific day. So um I want to talk about my experience too, because that's basically kind of like the outlook, but the way that you go about creating this, some techniques that I've used, the work that I've done has been, imagination for sure. You want to really get into your mind. Like, for me, I understood as I'm walking through my days, like, I've had some crazy manifestations just as of recently. And let's see, tell me a funny joke. Seems like someone just trying. Yeah, yeah. We're just gonna ignore hardship. We don't really, nothing really productive. That's an example of that's an example of somebody who's got a negative image of things, right? But anyways, so one of the things I've done that has helped me out a lot. Um, hey, hardship. I feel like, you know, I don't think they're not a scam. Well, I don't think they're a scam, and I'm just speaking from my experience because I've done it myself, and I'm living a life right now where, you know, that's where it's led me to. Good opportunities, for example. When it's just a simple thing. Like, if you imagine yourself living a positive life, and not just imagining it though, and I think that's what he talks about a lot about that in the book. But if you imagine yourself experiencing a positive life, and you actually work towards that, and you're constantly asking yourself, how we can like bring and create that life more and more into existence, we're gonna actually find the answers. For me, I would read a lot. So one example was, if I wanted to be a good student, I would first imagine myself getting that 4.0 GPA, and then I'll look into what would be the next step. And so little by little, the pieces will construct themselves. I think people feel like the people want to get the answers right away. People want to know the exact path to that success, and that's what keeps people in that state of like, I don't want to do anything. This is dumb. But I think the thing that I've learned so far, and this is where I really want to talk about with you guys, because this is something that's recently happened, or a realization that I've had this week, which is that the more you are engaged with your why, the more you are engaged with your vision, the easier it is, and the more effortless it becomes to actually bring that vision into reality. So I do both. So that's the thing. You want to get into a world. You want to get So the cycle is this. Like, a lot of people don't have a clear vision, and I think the is interesting because we off for me, I started off being somebody that didn't know who we wanted to become. I was in university. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I was an engineer, studying to be an engineer, and I was good at math, and I was good at all these things. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like it resonated with me. 2 years in, so I decided to actually question, like, I need to have a vision. I can't just let life pass me by and let life make the decisions for me, because I'm not happy right now, right? And so the vision started back in like sophomore year, when I was reading psychology books, and I was really just looking into like who I was, or who I am. And so the process, like, became this thing where I was really engaged and really trying to find out my vision. Um, Really trying to find out my vision. And so the way it started was like, how do I serve people, right? How can I best serve people? Because I understood at a deep level, that you come into this life, and life uh is you're pushed to really understand what your role is in serving people. Like, how are you going to help people? So once I understood that, I had to look at myself objectively, and say, okay, so what would I need to become to be the best, server to the world, or what kind of abilities do I have right now that I can actually use to create a better world. And little by little, as I started learning more, and so I was doing two things. So I would learn more so I could get to know myself. So I would learn about psychology, the inner technologies. Sorry, I got disconnected. But what I was saying was that there was 2 areas I was working on, both internal and external, and that's how life is. So you have to understand that you yourself, you're the bridge, right? And so the reason I'm explaining this is because recently, um, hold on, just reconnected. It's a weird day today. Having a lot of issues, but um, my camera and now the internet. All right, but anyways, so what happened recently, and this is something that I just want to share with you guys, is like, a lot of things have opened up on my journey towards creating that vision that I have in my head. You know, like, people have come to me and have been asking me for help, and in the physical world, and I started just hustling, just working, like, making money. And as I focused my energy on making more money, even more opportunities attracted themselves to make more money. And so, like, I don't know what it is, but recently I just understood, like, I've been so, like, focused on that I feel like, little like, synchronicity by synchronicity, like, day after day, I'm meeting new people that are in the field. For example, like, if I needed a studio, I just found a person that actually owns a studio and needs somebody like me, which is somebody that knows a little bit about social media and marketing. And so like that was one example. And then also I was going to garage sales. I've been flipping stuff and trying to trying to make some income, extra income. And I met a person that that actually was a whole a cancer survivor, and now we have this really great relationship, and we're working on creating something together. We're creating a podcast for people who have gone through that sort of like traumatic event. And um and so little by little, I'm meeting people, I'm creating experiences, I'm inviting this new world into my life, and also that world is pulling me towards her or towards him. And it's crazy because it's really you live in that vision, and then it actually it slowly descends into physical reality. Like I could sense my energy when I'm connected to the most highest, right? When I'm connected to that image that I have in my head. And then there's other images that exist, but that image is the overarching idea. And little by little I have like an image of my family and an image of my relationship, an image of my friends, and all these things are actually like realities that I tune into. And it's kind of weird. It's very almost like, yeah, the higher self does start to move in your direction. It's insane. This is something that I don't know, you guys are just like, you guys have been, I appreciate you guys watching this because I feel like you guys are just more like intimately connected with what I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. So I want to say that. So like little by little, I'm so grateful for what's been going on. And I never really thought about, like, I wasn't a person to push manifestation, because to me I was all in my head that I just needed to work on myself, and that's really what was needed. But there becomes a time when your thoughts are so aligned, they're so in tune with what you want, that you have just created, like, you build up this feeling of like, oh, like momentum. It's momentum basically. So so like you put those thoughts in your subconscious, and then like whenever a situation happens, instead of seeing the negative, you automatically jump to the positive, because you like automatically trust life, right? And this is something that I can say for like my business life, and just for lucid living in general. Like everything led to somewhere. Like for example, like I've been working on like making money or whatever, but I like the journey from where I started like 2 years ago, like just it was like half like just messing around a little bit, to like to being where I'm at right now, where like I'm creating a team and I'm trying to build this company up. Like the journey was very like, and it still is like very very foggy, and I wrote this down on one of my Instagram posts the other day. But like throughout that time there was a line that connected it all. Very It was a very it was that line was my vision. And within everything that I did, my intention was always towards that vision. I didn't know whether what I was gonna do was actually what I was gonna do forever. A lot of people say, you're gonna, like, whatever you do right now, you're gonna do. You want to, like, a vision is forever, right? So you have to have a super clear vision in order for you to know exactly what you want to do, or in order for you to succeed. But for me, the vision was kind of vague. It was more so, I just want to be the best that I can be for the world, and I want this to be the world that I want, that I want to be born. So it wasn't more so a vision for myself, but it was more so a vision for like what world I want to create, right? And so then I became the tool, or I became the kind of like the, I guess, the source that channeled that vision into being, right? And obviously it's still being created. I'm still, like, we're still working on it. But um but the more you, like, work on, you really question, like, what do I want to create? Because you have that ability. um the more your subconscious just keeps pushing and pulling things towards you. It's like, and then the work is really how, I go to sleep and I think about it. Like, Like I meditate and I think about it. Or like I'm reading and I think about it. And every little thing that I do is making me feel more and more connected to that vision. So like I have my book and I'm thinking about how that's gonna feed that vision. Or I have my job and I'm thinking about how that's gonna feed my vision. So unless you if you don't connect the things you're doing towards the vision that you have, you're gonna very easily stop doing those things. So you have to really connect, align. That's really the work that has to be done with the subconscious is actually just all work for alignment. Okay, so hold on, let me read the comments because I see you guys are posting some good stuff. So I felt like that at times in my life where I choose positivity, but it comes and goes. I have a hard time staying in the higher frequency for longer than a few months at a time, it seems. My vision changes a lot, but could be why it's hard for me to stay on track with my highest self and experience. Um, you also didn't allow source to work through you. Yeah, correct. And harsh shit. Ayo, I'm back for sure, for sure. So I think that so something that I've found um, that's helped me out a lot has been man the trying to stay on the positivity. So I think I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but um like the why. Okay, so the why is really what will get you there. But feeling into the why is so much more important than the why itself. So sometimes the why is not clear. Like why are you doing this? People will say because I want to be the best, right? I want to be the best surfer. I want to be the best YouTuber, whatever. Well, sometimes you don't know whether being the YouTuber is what you really want to do, but you just want to be good. You just want to be a server to the world, and the feeling of improvement, the feeling of you know I'm getting there, I'm progressing. That is so much more important than the actual outcome. So, for example, you've been going to the gym, Karin, and I know you've been working there, or at least that's what you mentioned like a few weeks ago. The thing with the gym that really got me going, that made it so much easier for me, was that instead of it being about the outcome, getting like the six pack or like getting the looking more attractive, it didn't become that. It became I want to go to a gym so I could see what happens next, in the sense that like I want to feel that feeling of being in tune with my body. I really want to feel um how my body feels when I'm going through the motions, when I'm pushing myself, when I'm getting that extra rep in, when I'm actually progressing. And then I like the feeling of filling things up in my journal and then actually write and seeing, from the pages beforehand how much, how I've been doing. Um and so that's a little, micro example of that. But so then, for example, for your life, then it becomes something else where it's like, I like the feeling of waking up and prepping for the day, preparation, like getting up and knowing in my head, oh, like I'm gonna go to the gym because I know that's gonna help me physically. I'm gonna read a book because I know that's gonna help me mentally. Like I'm gonna go out because I know that I'm gonna express myself and hope, I don't know, maybe meet some new people. So that's kind of like the you have to move fast. I think I realized also that you have to move. You just gotta move. Sometimes you don't know why you do things, and you don't know what's the right decision. But if you just do it, and then as you keep doing it, and committing to that moment, because this is something. Okay, this is good, because then um the actual vision is the actual vision the commit it's the commitment. This is really good. The commitment is that, like, commitment, people think about commitment in the sense that I'm going to commit to this for like my life, and I'm going to give this my thing because I want to be there in that future, right? But what I've realized is that, that works, but there's something else that will be much more helpful for your current situation anywhere. which is true commitment is commitment to the moment. True commitment is commitment to your heart. So what your heart feels right now, if you can commit to that feeling and really just seeing what that unravels and what that reveals, then you will get closer and closer to your highest self. Because when you commit to your current self, you're not committing based off fear, right? You're not committing based off this desire of like trying to prove people wrong. You're committing to the desire because you just think that that's the right thing in the moment and you feel that rightness there. So if you commit, if you just keep moving and getting closer and closer to getting to really feeling that feeling of authenticity and progress and growth, because you know that's your the feeling of progress is really just the feeling of you getting closer and closer to your higher self. um if you can really find that feeling everywhere you go, then that's the work. You know, that's manifestation right there. Okay. Hold on, let me just keep reading right here. um how many books have you read? I've read a lot of books. I don't know. I've I don't know, man. Probably like I don't even keep track, but I know I've got a lot in my living room. I got a whole bookshelf full of books, and I haven't read all of them. I'd say I've probably read like 70%, probably well over 100 in there, on my bookshelf. So you know maybe like 70, 80. But I read a lot. You know, I like that used to be my best. I'm an introvert. It's what I like to do. Um, let's see. That's what Kundalini yoga has done for me. Breathwork movement, so powerful and connected to you. Um, I haven't tried yoga. I haven't tried Kundalini yoga. I'm not really much of a yoga person, to be honest. I haven't. It hasn't really drawn my attention. I am interested though in martial arts. So let me know if you're a martial arts person, MMA. I'm a fan. Um, For me, it was about the feeling good and stronger, which allowed me to maintain the discipline and consistency towards it. I need to figure out how to apply that why to other aspects of my life. Yeah. Um, I mean, I think I might have mentioned it earlier, but the way you apply that why is committing to that moment, and and like everything that you do, you really want to question whether that's in alignment with your heart. You know, like will me drinking, going out with some friends and drinking, is that in alignment with my heart? You know, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, in my case, right? um like, is this relationship aligned to my heart, to this commitment that I have right now towards myself? And really, at the end of the day, I think the people need to understand that commitment isn't about another person. It's really just about committing to figuring out who you are. Like, for example, the biggest thing was like that makes it really easy for me is that maybe I'm not going to be the greatest dancer, for example, and maybe I don't know why I'm doing it, but I know that I'm committed to finding out. That's it. I'm committed to finding out what it brings to me. I'm committed to I don't know what would happen if I take this risk. For example, maybe public speaking. Um but I'm committed to finding out, because the really important part about finding out after, after taking the risk, is that you discover new parts of yourself. You know, even if it could, even if it was embarrassing, or even if it was a negative experience, the risk, the negative of that, well, first off, you'll realize that it really wasn't as big of a deal as you thought it was. Second off, you're gonna find that, whoa, I never thought I'd be able to handle it that well, you know, or I never thought I'd even be on stage, or I never thought I'd actually be doing that one thing. and and then you start recognizing a new aspect of yourself that starts questioning, well, what would happen, what would it mean for me to do it again, or what would it mean for me to really explore that, um very consistently, right? So that's a really big thing. So let's see. Hopefully that answers your question on how to find the why and everything else in your life, Karin. Let me know for sure. um So I attach to the angle too much and it gets me down. Thank you for that perspective. For me, it was feeling good and stronger, which allowed me to maintain. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a book called there's a pretty bug, uh, pretty good book I'm like reading the comments and trying to talk. My bad. Pretty good book. It is called the what's it called? It's about systems, not goals. I forgot what it's called, man. But I forgot. The book. It's a good book. It's a popular book. It's about creating systems and not goals, meaning that the systems, um, people. A lot of people have goals, but not many people achieve them because they don't have the systems that they need to actually get there. And to me, the system is kind of like the system is created out of the why. So it's kind of like Simon Sinek wrote this book called Start with Why, and that's a book that I do know. But that the essential component is that why is the initial creation of everything. So what so like the why creates the system, and the why also feeds the system, and then the why also leads to the goal, to the accomplishment of the goal. Okay. Um oh, light bulb moment. Yes, let's go. I'm glad that happened, because that's a really big thing. That's one of the biggest things I've learned. So MMA, you gotta start reading more, dude. I'm always gonna say you gotta read. Stay open, because reading challenges your beliefs. I know you didn't like that book, Power of the Subconscious Mind, but if you allow yourself to explore the idea and actually try it, I'm telling you, you would have gotten results, or you would get results, because I did. Okay. Um, Jujitsu. I'm more of a like kickboxing guy. But I have tried jujitsu. It's just like once. Um, let's see which one. Which one? I'm confused. Thank you for sure. Did answer my questions. I appreciate the depth you brought to this conversation. It got me thinking different. Yeah. I mean, know that the present moment is Atomic Habits. Yes, you know what's up. There we go. Atomic Habits. That's the book I was talking about. Um, yeah. So I th- I think that the present moment is the beginning of everything, right? It's the beginning and the end. So if you can really tune, if it's what it all depends on what you're tuning into. So if you can tune into the present, then in the positive sense, well, even if you just tune into the present, there is no positive or negative. There just is, right? Um, and in that feeling of just being, you can very easily find who you are, because who you are is in harmony with everything else when you really are present. And so then that allows for you to channel that your essence, and then you understand yourself at a deeper level. And that's why I talk about meditation so much, because that practice is what gets you there. Okay. So yeah. Okay. In my opinion, self-help books are a scam. I will say though that um it just depends. It's like that thing, like, is social media good or bad? I've realized that it's all up to the person. Like, it all comes down to you. Like, if I gave somebody $100 or $1 million, for example, why is it that the majority of the lottery winners, like, lose their $1 million after having won them? Um, like, they don't, they get rich, but they don't stay rich. They don't get wealthy, and the difference really is, like, the person really dictates what happens, right? So if you think that self-help books are a scam, then you might just see all self-help books in that way. But if you allow yourself to explore how the possibility of a self-help being actually completely legit, then maybe it will be for you. It's a interesting dynamic when it comes to perspective, because it is all perspective. um Most can be, I do see your perspective. Yeah. The Now, The Power of Now is a good book too, by Eckhart Tolle. Um, yeah, a lot of people won't put into work, but it's just like everything in life, where it really just, what do you say? It's like, if it were easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. And also, people just don't know, like, the reason people don't do things is because they don't know why it's worth their time. That's really just the thing about it. Um, when you receive the tools and gifts, you have to know how to apply them or be willing to try. Yeah, you have to be willing to try at least to like find out, what you want to do. If you don't know how to do it, then you can try and find out. My light is really bad right now. I got a lot of I'm getting a lot of glare right now. Hopefully you guys can see me pretty well. But I know. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna yeah, man. Yeah, I mean that's what it is right now. That's how it is. We're just here with the light. But yeah, that was some. We can I don't know. You guys have any questions? Any other questions? This is good. I like the conversation going. This is my first time, just like seeing this amount of conversation. I really appreciate you guys. I mean something that I realized is I want to yeah. No horror stories. I don't got any horror stories, man. I got some. I mean, kind of. I got some weird. I got some spiritual experiences, but I don't know. Let me know what do you guys want to talk about, man? Because I it's already 3 o'clock, but we can go on for a few more minutes. Let me see. Let me go look over anything that. Oh, okay. So this is one thing that I do from reading that book. I want to think about um I want to talk about the idea of money, and this is something really cool that I learned a few years ago, and I've been like slowly like just trying to like work on that, which was a lot of people see money as a negative thing. People have like a negative relationship with money. Like, people with a lot of money are often described as like, are seen as like evil or corrupt. A lot of people associate, having a lot of money with being a bad person. And I think I had that idea kind of subconsciously back when I like 4 years, not like 3 years ago, 2 3 years ago. And money is the best. Yeah, and I was also against that like idea of like money is everything, and I still kind of am. Like, I don't think it's the solution, but I do want to say one thing, and this is something that really like was very interesting, the way Joseph Murphy put it, which was like money. Think of money as an entity within itself. So if you want to attract more money, you're not gonna talk bad about money. It's like if you want to attract like a partner into your life, you're not going to talk crap about your like the person that you want, right? And when he was talking about money, he was saying that if you envy people for having something that you don't have, you're automatically just pushing that away from you farther and farther, because you're thinking like um that it's kind of like a bad thing for people to have good things happen to them. And so that is directly reflected onto yourself, where it's like it's a bad thing for you to have good things happen to you. And that was something that really like clicked with me, which was like, whoa, I never really thought about it like that, in the sense that money is an entity, and your subconscious being connected to everything in the universe is automatically going to connect you with like that relationship. There's a relationship that you have with money, and if you work on establishing a good relationship with money, you will automatically attract more money, or you'll feel a lot better about giving and receiving. And that's the really important part, is like the receiving end. A lot of people don't know how to receive just goodness out of the universe, and that's something that I struggled with for a long time. And even now I feel like now I'm like, things have been going very well for me right now. So I feel like I'm like flying through it. But before that, it was just constant, like, you know, little by little, trying to like create a nice, safe place for money to live in my life, like in my mind. And that's really the work, Um, to be born still. Wait, hold on. I think ghosts are poor people that couldn't afford having tickets at some point. Yes. Some dark sides to joy. That could be money is best. Okay, because you gotta pay for it. And to be born to pass. Yeah. Works so all you gotta do is throw slurs at money. Maybe, maybe that works. Nah, I mean I don't think that's how it works, but okay. Yeah, thank you, Cutting. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. It was nice seeing you. It's never an accident of who the universe matches us with. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. That's something I'm learning right now too. But I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it off right there, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming in, and next live stream, I hope to be more well prepared. I guess because my internet and my camera was just a little weird. Um, but welcome to the. I don't know what's going on with Kanye right now. I think there's a lot more behind the scenes though. It'd be interesting to look into it. Remember to always look at both sides. All right, that's just all I'm gonna say with that. But yeah, thank you guys. Welcome, Harshit. Um, hope you enjoyed the live stream, and thank you, Wisdom Warriors. So that's what we got for today. Hope you guys stay lucid. And